to do, if there's anything I need to protect, the first thing I should be able to protect is my heart. I should protect my heart above all things. You can be a murderer who has never murdered anyone. A murderer who has never murdered anyone. Because the Bible says, when you hate somebody, you've already killed. Killing comes from hating a person. So, now we're seeing here, the Bible, you can see the Bible is talking about, actually it begins to talk about the importance of the heart. Especially in Matthew, it says, out of the heart, out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, which defiles a man. So it's, in other words, what we are looking at is that what we say comes from the heart. Of course, sometimes we can say it hypocritically, but the real thing, the real you, comes from the heart. And what we speak, what we love to talk about, is an indicator of who we are. Is an indicator of who we are, or of the things that are in our hearts. Now, I want us to look at the differences between the heart and the mind. Now, remember what I've mentioned is that to just be able to help clarify this, what I'm saying is that a man consists of three parts: the body, the soul, and the spirit, or the spirit, soul, and body. Now, when you are talking about, and there are different views, when you are talking about the heart, you may actually be referring to the soul and the spirit. Or you may be referring to one of these. But predominantly, when you say my heart, we are predominantly talking about your soul and the spirit. That's why you can think with your heart, because you are talking about the soul, and the soul consists of the will, the mind, and emotions. The primary focus is on the mind, the connection between the mind and the heart. I'm giving a background so that we understand why the devil attacks our minds or our hearts. Why does he focus on our hearts? So the Bible shows a very close connection between the heart and the mind. Very close connection. So we're looking at the differences. So let's look at, so we have here, we have aspects or dimensions. Here we have the heart, and here we have the mind. And so we'll look at this location, function, the role, and many others. So I'll go through this quickly. So in terms of location, the physical heart is found in the body. The mind, not physically located in a specific place. The functions, the heart, it symbolizes emotions, feelings, and desires. For the mind is associated with thinking, reasoning, and decision making. So when we go to the role, what role do the heart and mind play? The role of the heart influences intuition, empathy, and compassion. The mind processes logic, analysis, and problem solving. So the connection, we'll look at the connection between, with the connection with self. Connection with self. So often associated with passion and instinct. The mind leads to cognition and rationality, the thinking, the reasoning. When it comes to decision making,
the decisions are driven by emotions and personal values. So the things that are important to you is what will drive you to make a decision on particular things. For the mind, it's based on logic, reasoning, and evidence. So you need to analyze, collect the data, analyze, and make a decision. But for the heart, it's a question of your emotions, things that are important, things that you love, things that you hate, will make you to make a decision. Now, in terms of how information is processed, for the mind, for the heart, it is holistic and subjective. In other words, when the heart is looking at things, it looks at everything comprehensively, and it's subjective in the sense is that it's not something that we can easily measure. We can measure. But when it comes to the mind is analytical and objective. The mind is analytical and objective. In terms of gender, in terms of men and women, one gender predominantly is influenced, operates from the heart. The other gender operates from the mind. So which gender operates from the mind? Okay, so the women operate from their hearts, from the emotions. What's more powerful, the emotions or the logic? What is more powerful, the heart or the mind? Our source of strength for women and men lies in different places. For men, their strength is more physical. That's why the one who is supposed to do a lot of work at home is a man and not a woman. Okay, there is another animal above which is stronger than everything else. It's called culture. Can somebody tell me, when you look at the weight of a man, what percentage of the total weight of a man consists of muscle? 80. And when is more than that? 90. Sorry? Yes, but in terms of the percentage of muscle, talk about muscle. I'm sure even in muscle is what? Total percentage. I've read books that say, when you look at the weight of a man, that weight, 40% consists of the muscle. Whilst the women, what is the percentage? Can somebody guess? Is what? It's 20%. 20%. So, what are muscles for? For showing in the gym. What are they for? For choice. Okay? But you see just how men easily get tired. You know what? Getting tired because of on the mind. You know when you're doing something that you love, you can go on and on and on. That's why people are passionate about something. They can do things, they can go on and on and on and on. If I'm doing something I'm passionate about, there are some things that I almost do, like almost throughout the night, and I'm not getting time. So when the Bible is telling us, love the Lord with all your heart, it's a very important aspect. Because something you love, even when you're tired, you look for headache somewhere. There's a reserve of headache somewhere. It comes and it goes. For example, if you are broken, you are tired, you barely can lift your hand. And then they even tell you, maybe it's a husband asking, like, honey, can you do this for me? Don't you know I'm tired? I'm also tired. Give me space. And all of a sudden, somebody comes and says, I think that the example I'm giving is for a man. Stand, just come and get him out. The energy comes. Where does that energy come from? You said you can't even lift your hand. So that is, but what I'm saying is that women are strong in the sense that they use their heart. Their heart can drag the body along. Look at who is taking care, those in the lower level of the economy. Who is busy taking care of family? Who is selling on the street when you compare the percentage of men and women? Sometimes I am passing through and I look at the kind of business the woman is doing, and I'm thinking, Fish, what can they get out of this and really make a significant living? They're selling maybe few tomatoes, they're selling bananas, and where are the men? But anyway, we are not talking about men, and I was just trying to show that predominantly women operate from their hearts. Even the brain structure of a man and a woman, there is a big difference. There's a difference. This is according to what I've read. So if the one who wrote a book is wrong, I'm also wrong. But I read where it was saying the brain, and I think one doctor confirmed, the brain of a man is actually, there's a bit of a gap in between. And there are threads, the nerves between the two are not that strong. They are, I don't know, maybe I can say they are scattered. But the brain of a woman is joined tightly, and the connection is very strong. That's why women can feel and think. Men are like a manual car. They change gears. When they start feeding, they stop thinking. When they start thinking, they stop feeding. Because I get surprised. Even I totally get surprised. So I just have to imagine, I think that must be very bad, but I'm feeling nothing. Okay? But there are certain things which a man becomes emotional about. I'll mention one. The other one I'll mention in another setting. When you touch a man's job, if you want to see a man get emotional, touch the job. He'll be more emotional if you touch the job than if somebody dies. Especially if that's not a very close relative. And when you touch a man's pride, we are supposed to be well rounded in a sense where we operate, we use the head and the brains. We need to grow in the things of God so that we can use both, even as men. Now that's why a lot of men, more men commit suicide than women. Because when a man is too emotional, something terrible happens to him. The thinking shuts down, the emotions control, and the emotions are not reasonable. So that is the challenge. The man, what he decides to hang himself. And he only realizes he's made a mistake when he has already jumped. Now he's struggling to come off. And you know that people have attempted to commit suicide. I don't think why should we quick so then you drop you can repeat, because afterwards the neck will be so sorry. You will not be able to swallow properly. So then expressions. In terms of the heart, expressed through love, empathy, and affection. The mind communicated through thoughts, ideas, and beliefs.
Yeah, impact on behavior drives impulsive actions and gut reactions. Where you just react. Those are impulses. And then for the mind, guides deliberate actions and planning. Relationship with others, number 9, facilitates empathy and emotional reaction. For the mind enables understanding and communication. So now, so we see the aspect of a mind, the aspect of the heart. Now, this is something that we'll have to know, but sometimes you will not really make a distinction as you are reading the Bible what this is all about. Now, let's look at scriptures that talk about the link between the heart and the mind. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." So here we see the heart is thinking. As he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. This is telling us we cannot know the intentions of people. It is telling us what a person is telling you may be totally different from what they are thinking. And it also gives an impression here that their heart thinks. Because it says, as a man thinks in his heart. This is when we talk like this, when the Bible is talking like that, it is now combining the thinking is being represented from the soul. It's speaking on the part of the soul. Here is another scripture. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk in the futility of their mind, having the understanding darkened, understanding from the mind, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance. Ignorance has to do with the mind. That is in them because of the blindness of their heart. Here we see that when a person's heart is blinded, the mind is going to be darkened. The mind is going to be darkened. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." By the renewing of your mind. Now, in the one that we've looked at, the first one we have looked at is talking about the fact that when the heart is darkened, the heart is blinded, you'll find that the understanding will be darkened. In this case, it's like it's reversed. For your character, for your heart to change, you need to renew your mind. So there's this intersection that we are looking at here. In Psalm 19 verse 14, it says, "May the words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord my God, my rock and redeemer." So here we are talking about meditation taking place in the heart. Meditation taking place in the heart. Finally, 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 4 says, "Whose minds the God of this world has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them." Where does the believing come from? Is the believing in the mind or in the heart? Okay. So here you see another connection here. The minds are blinded that they are not unable to believe. So whatever is going through the mind will affect your heart, which may be referring maybe to your character, your actions. And what is in your heart will also affect your mind, what you think and what you prioritize. That's basically what we are looking at. Now, when we are looking at the mind and the heart, we are talking about the same thing. When we are talking about the mind and the heart, what we are talking about actually, we are talking about two levels of consciousness. The conscious mind is what is called the mind. The subconscious mind is what we are calling the heart. So when we look at the difference between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, you will see that it's very closely related to what we are talking about in terms of the mind and the heart. The mind and the heart. So let me briefly go over the subconscious mind, and if I don't finish, I will continue next week. So this is part 2. What is the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind can easily be understood when we compare it with the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is that part of your mind you are not aware of, which performs involuntary body functions. What I mean here is that there are things that I'm doing and I'm controlling. I'm lifting my hands, I'm talking, I'm deciding, I have problems with my laptop, I'll do something about it. But whilst I'm doing that, there are processes, chemicals, and reactions and functions that are going on in the back room, as they say in banking, that I'm not even aware of. Do you know, as I'm doing this, my body is digesting the food that I ate. My temperature is being controlled. The heart is beating. I'm not the one controlling the heartbeat. So there are a lot of processes that are going on. All those processes are controlled by the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is part of your mind that you are aware of, or that does things that you are aware of, which performs voluntary functions of your body. I lift my hand and I speak, I do this and that. Now, let's compare the subconscious mind with the conscious mind. We are just looking at the mind and the heart. Now we are looking at the subconscious mind and the heart and the conscious mind. The size of subconscious mind is 90 to 95%. The conscious mind only makes up just 5 to 10%. The brain mass, the part of the brain that the conscious mind covers, is only 17% versus 83% of the subconscious mind. Memory, limitless. The memory of subconscious mind is limitless. It has recorded everything you have ever done, you have ever experienced. It has recorded like in a movie, like a video camera. It has found it. The only problem is that you cannot recall. But if something similar to what you've experienced come up, then you'll be able to retrieve. They say that the conscious mind can only hold 7 facts at a time. Memory horizon, the subconscious mind is forever. The conscious mind is 20 seconds. Okay, I've repeated myself there. The subconscious mind is a seat of habits and emotions. Is a seat of habits and emotions. Speed. The subconscious mind is extremely fast. The conscious mind speed, I don't know how they measured this, is 190 to 204 kilometers per hour. The subconscious mind is 160,000 kilometers per hour. Now, let me give you an example. When you are driving and your conscious mind is there, you are controlling, you're avoiding the other vehicles, but whenever you have an emergency, the subconscious mind takes over. Okay? It takes over. Because your conscious mind is too slow, is too inaccurate to be able to deal with the situation. We'll look at something else. You know, I don't know those of you who drive. Even if you're riding it, you come and then you pass and you realize you are still alive. And then that's when the heart now the heart is pumping, you are sweating, you start thinking, oh, I would have died. But when those things were going on, you were not thinking. Because at that point, the subconscious mind takes over. The subconscious mind takes over if I recall, in 2 instances. In an emergency and when you're asleep. When you're asleep, your conscious mind is asleep. The subconscious mind does not sleep. If it sleeps, you will hear that he just died without being sick. Oh, he just slept and that was the end. Because your subconscious mind has stopped operating. It's controlling your vital organs. So that's, and beats per second, 2,000 beats per second. That's how much information, whatever that means. We just have to know that this is a lot of information. 2,000 bits of information per second. The conscious mind processes 4 billion bits of information per second. Judgment, or the subconscious mind, takes things literally, accepts everything as true, real, as long as you believe it. The subconscious mind doesn't care. So you remember, whether you are dreaming or you are seeing it, the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference. You still, the best example is you go to watch a movie, or you're watching a movie maybe on a device but it's better if when you are watching it on those big screens with all sound effects, and then there's your favorite character, and they're about to bounce on that character. Then your heart starts beating. But the mind knows that this is acting. You even know this is acting. People were filming. So, but we know, the mind knows that this is not true. But the heart doesn't care whether it's true or not. It will still feel. Sometimes I've seen people watching a movie and they start shedding tears. That is the disconnection between the heart and the mind. Those days when I used to watch action movies, I didn't want to watch action movies with my wife seated next to me. Because she would just be saying, "Fiabufi, fiabufi. Oh, umuntu kuti atoloka. Can a person jump from there? Oh, eh." That's not the issue. Us men are controlled from the mind, and we want our minds. The mind has to be captivated. Even things, and men love rough things, competitive things, even the type of sports that men, of course, when women join in, they go to extremes. So the subconscious mind takes things literally. What you've imagined and what is real does not matter to the subconscious mind. What is a lie and what is the truth, it does not matter to the subconscious mind. As long as you believe it, the brain will begin to work and act on it. And now remember, I said the title of this is that your subconscious mind can be a friend or your enemy, or foe. That's what we are looking at. Number of functions that can be performed at a time. The subconscious mind can perform trillions of functions at a time, whilst the conscious mind can only perform one activity at a time. An example, when you are learning to drive, actually driving is not even a conscious mind. It's not a function of the conscious mind. It's a function of the subconscious mind. Because driving entails doing several things at a go. Okay? Now, it's not that these days people don't drive cars. Cars drive them. Because gears are changed automatically. But all the same, imagine you are driving, and as you are driving, and the best time to explain this is the first time you get in a car. You are learning to drive. So, you start driving, and it's a manual car. So you are driving, Then the instructor says, "Madam, change gears." You have to look where the gears are. And when you look where the gears are, what happens? You go off the road. Even a slight look, you go off the road.